What's up, guys? I'm coming to everybody live from my bed. This is Wintercore. That is Panamanian hot chocolate. I highly suggest you try it. Oh, good shit. I'm actually going to keep that right here because I'm fucking cold. So, we've done a couple episodes of these. We call them Touch Grass. Lexi wanted us to do these outside so that we were like literally touching grass. Problem is outside it's freezing and I'm not gonna do that, so I'm comfortable in my bed. We're just gonna have a talk, okay? You want to know what I want to talk about today? I want to talk about food. I think about food more more than the average person. I mean, I think a lot of people think about food. Obviously it's like a thing that we like on a very basic level everyone's thinking about. But I want to talk more about where does our food come from? Like, I feel like this is not a conversation that is had enough. Ever since I moved to Italy, I think about food probably, I wanted to give an exact number. I don't know. I think about food a lot more now that I live here, mostly because food is a very central part of the culture here. Like, let's be real. A lot of the core culture does revolve around food and like pride about food and getting people together over food, recipes, food that's in season during a certain part of the year, how certain foods are even named. Like I just saw that Italy Segreta posted like a dessert post about the names of different desserts and like the cultural significance of all of that, right? Whatever. Long story short, food is something I think about a lot, but I like since moving here, I have noticed a massive difference in food quality, food production, food tracing, like transparency even. And I just wanted to have a chat about this. Like this is a global question, so any from all over the world you can answer this, but particularly my American listeners, are you guys asking where your food comes from? Like, are you checking the ingredients list? Are you interested in knowing like the source of your food, or is it kind of just like okay, here's a broader question. When you go to the grocery store or when you go to the market or whatever you do and you're looking for food, how do you buy it? Like what goes into the selection process? Are you thinking about what's in season? Are you thinking about what is going to give you the most protein? Like I don't know if you're like a gym baddie and you're like trying to build muscle and you're looking for more protein sources. Like, are you just going based off of recipes that you like? You're trying to find certain ingredients that match a recipe. Like, what goes into the selection process? I'm so curious about this, especially for Americans. I think when I was shopping in the States, like I was more health focused. I was going more for like the diversity, like of the plate. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to move this. I'm sorry. I was going more for diversity on the plate. I was like, okay, I need colors. I need veggies. I was going for like that whole, remember in school you would have like that pie chart that would be like grains and fruits and veggies and protein and like, dairy. And I feel like I was kind of trying to like fill that. Anyway, I'm asking all of this because here at Hotel Earth, obviously, we are trying to do some more education on eco-consciousness, on environmental consciousness. And there's a big problem with food, bro. The agricultural industry in general. And it's not talked about enough. Like, I'm just scratching the surface. And I'm someone who's Lexi and I both are people who are rather informed. We're not experts, we're just rather informed, okay? Like we studied we studied environmental science and studies in school. Like that's basically the extent of our expertise on this. We just have questions and we pursue them, right? The reason I'm the reason I'm honing in on this is because slowly but surely I'm realizing and I'm learning what a big impact food and agriculture has on the environment. Bro, it's like the agricultural industry in general, something like a third of global emissions. And this is not discussed. This is not talked about. I mean, this is all components, like all across the supply chain, right? So we're talking from like production, as in growing the food, like seed stage, all the way through producing it into a nice ripe fruit, and then picking the fruit, transporting it, distributing it to, grocers, the whole life cycle there, people buying it, the whole agricultural process, the whole agricultural industry is something like a third of global emissions, and it is just not discussed enough, not enough. I mean, when you think of emissions, you're thinking of like, probably, I mean, I don't know, you tell me, cars, transportation, airplanes, big factories, probably. I mean, that's what used to come to mind for me. Anyway, agriculture is a really big part of our global emissions kind of total. And I'm just chatting. I just want to know if people day to day, like our little community here, are thinking about food and where it comes from, its impact, like, and if that goes into the decision-making process when you're at the grocery store, or if you're going to a market, are you thinking about quality, or are we thinking about price? And I know also that cost is a very big factor here, because how can you afford high quality foods if you're not getting the salary to support that kind of decision? So this also becomes an economic question, a financial question. As I said, from personal experience, I've noticed a difference in my own personal decision making, but that's just because I've educated myself a little bit about it, and because it's something that I've realized is a value of mine, so I try to put a little bit more effort into the decision making process. But what I am trying to get to the bottom of here is, do you know what's going on with your food? Do you know that most of your food comes from like highly processed, genetically modified foods that don't even really grow in nature? Like, do you guys know that broccoli doesn't exist in nature? Do you guys know that most of the produce you go out and buy in the store doesn't actually exist in nature? Do you guys know that governments almost globally, I think it is globally, subsidize 3 crops? Subsidize soy, wheat, and corn? Like, these 3 crops are basically forced to grow year-round all the time, under all conditions, completely destroying the soil, completely destroying the ability for soil to keep carbon into the ground, reducing the quality of the crop at the end because the soil quality is such shit. Is this like, do you guys know? Do you guys know that when you deplete soil, that you are also depleting the crop of its potential to provide nutrients to your body? Like, this is what we try to do at Hoteler. We're trying to connect the whole thing. We're trying to connect the dots and bring it on home for everybody. Why should you care about this stuff? If you don't care about emissions or the environment, or you think, global warming is a hoax. First of all, if you think global warming is a hoax, or is this the channel you should be watching? I don't know. But this is why you care, because it's directly affecting you, your kids, your sister, your neighbor, your dog. Anyway, again, governments are basically forcing farmers at this point to grow certain crops. Those certain crops need to be yielded year round under all conditions. They've become genetically engineered to withstand all sorts of weather conditions, all kinds of pesticides. This whole process is quite extensive. And then you get into this issue with the soil. So because you're forcing certain crops to grow year round, the soil has no ability to actually recuperate, I want to say. Basically, you get the soil to a point where it's so dry and barren that it has no more ability to provide nutrients to seeds. So now the foods we're growing have something like 40% of the nutrients that it used to. Like an orange has significantly less vitamins than it did 100 years ago because of this process. Yeah, so just curious if you're asking, or if you're curious about where your food comes from, and does that go into the decision-making process when you go to the market and buy food? I think it should. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just asking a question that we all should maybe be asking. Anyways, Lexi and I are going to be doing some more deep dives on this, so stay tuned. Keep following this channel. Subscribe to our Substack because we'll probably be writing about it as well. But I just want to know, do you think about this when you're shopping? Will you now that you know a couple things? Thanks for tuning in. Just a food for thought. I think we all should think about things a little bit more. And we also should be questioning why it's cheaper to eat crap, especially in the US. Aren't we curious about that? Aren't we curious about why? Why is it cheaper to buy a genetically modified, processed, like packaged bag of pretzels than it is to buy an organic carrot? You know? Just things I want to know. Anyway, I'll be asking more questions like this, I'm sure. Sorry if you didn't get the answers you wanted. I wasn't necessarily going to provide answers or reasons. I just wanted to ask a question. But you should stay tuned because I think answers will be coming. Thanks for listening. Ciao.